What's up, everyone? This is FP6 bringing you some more Go Battle League battles here in the Great League in Season 6. And this video is going to be more battles featuring this team of OBSTAGOON, Shadow, Hypno, and Venusaur. I really think that this is a strong team. I think OBSTAGOON lead really has a lot of play. You really only need to look out for opposing fighters as well as like the fairy types. And that's where having Hypno as a safe swap, especially Shadow Hypno, can be really effective in dealing with the counters to OBSTAGOON, and keeping Venusaur in the back as a nice hard check to a lot of these Pokemon that are going to beat OBSTAGOON is very solid as well. So I've really been enjoying running this team. Obviously these battles are still taken from like a couple days ago, so I was in the lower ranks still, so we may still see some spicier teams, but the gameplay nonetheless is pretty enjoyable with this team for sure. So let's kind of talk through what's going on here. OBSTAGOON into Stunfisk is very favorable. I'm not running Cross Chop on my OBSTAGOON, and the reason being is because Gunk Shot, if you're able to get a nice farm down on a dark type that might switch into your Hypno safe swap, is a really nice nuke against Azumarils as well as the Charmers or any random grass type that might be there. So I encounter a Wigglytuff lead. That's not great. This is where having Fire Punch is so key. I know in my previous video where I posted this team, so many people were wondering why I was running Fire Punch on Hypno. Someone even said, oh, no one uses Steel types in Great League, and no, everyone uses Steel types in Great League, and having Fire Punch here can actually allow me to potentially win switch advantage here, or at least get a shield advantage like you see there. So obviously the Wigglytuff lead is not great, but what you're going to see me do is go for a nice hefty farm with OBSTAGOON here, and I'm going to hopefully have close to enough energy to be somewhat close to a Gunk Shot for that Wigglytuff, but we're going to have to see what happens here. I can easily tank a Rock Slide, able to farm down the Stunfisk, which is good for me. Out comes that Wigglytuff, going straight for the Gunk Shot here. Hopefully this goes through. Oh, but my opponent shields, and that is not great for me. I'm going to instantly swap to Venusaur, and even though I have 2 shields, my opponent has such a hard counter to my Venusaur in the back. Very unfortunate for me. You could also consider running Defense Deoxys instead of Hypno on the safe swap. Also still has some play against the Charmers, and is one of the counter users that can actually handle the other fighters as well. But I do like Hypno. Especially Shadow Hypno. That confusion damage is so strong, and I faint with the shield there. My opponent shielded all the correct moves there, so good game to my opponent there. Mag Mortar, you love to see the spice. So this thing is most likely running Fire Punch and Thunderbolt, assuming that they had it during the community day. Mag Mortar is very glassy though, so whatever this move is, I'm just going to shield it up and counter down and guarantee that I win the lead. If they bring in an Azumaril, I'm going to safe swap my Hypno, but this person is running full spice, and I appreciate it for sure. Out comes the Vaporeon. I get the boost there. Man, OBSTAGOON is being cut loose here. I get the second shield. These counters are really adding up. I do lose CMP to this Vaporeon here, but I'm going to be able to come in with Venusaur. If it is running Last Resort, I'm a little bit worried about that, but I knew that this was too fast to be a Last Resort, so I will let this through. It's just an Aqua Tail, and I'm able to fully farm this down without getting hit by another Aqua Tail. That's really good for me. In the back is a Gyarados, Waterfall Gyarados, probably also running Aqua Tail. These Frenzy Plants only hit for neutral damage, but oh my gosh, Gyarados is so glassy in the Great League. So this was obviously a pretty straightforward team comp win here. Good game though. OBSTAGOON into Umbreon. This is the dream lead. This is exactly where you want to see the Umbreon, and as you can see there, I'm always watching the top right corner for the typings of the Pokemon, and right when I see that Water Fairy typing, I immediately switch into my Venusaur. It is very important that you're fast to the swap on Venusaur so you can get to the Frenzy Plant before the Azumaril is able to throw that first Ice Beam if they are running Ice Beam. Reason being is you want to kind of be in control of the shielding situation. So if you're able to throw that first Frenzy Plant and the Azumarill shields, you can safely match shields from there on out. But if they no shield, if you have a decent IV Venusaur like I do, you can easily tank one Ice Beam and then Vine Whip it down, leave that with stored energy. So I really like having a hard punish to an Azu safe swap in the back like Venusaur. Obviously Ferrothorn fulfills this role, Meganium fulfills this role, but that Sludge Bomb damage from Venusaur is really helpful against the Charmers, as well as hitting for neutral damage on some other flyers like Altaria, Noctowl if you see it. Obviously Skarmory is a very hard counter to that, but I'm going to insta swap into Hypno here. And this is where, you know, obviously having Shadow Ball would be pretty nice there. My opponent even goes for Thunderbolt right off the bat. That's actually a pretty heads-up play because there's no way I'm shielding up whatever that first move is, so they go for the heavier hitting move. I get a shield there, which is good for me. These counters from Deoxys are going to be hitting my Obstagoon for double super effective damage, so I really need to get this thing lower. I'm able to sneak in an extra confusion here. I'm hoping I can barely survive. Oh, they go for Psycho Boost, so I am going to be able to survive that. And then I accidentally over tap. I'm stuck in the middle of the confusion animation, and I throw a Thunder Punch on the Umbreon. Unfortunate for me, but I'm going to be able to get to this Night Slash, and this will be just enough to take out that Defense Deoxys there. Obstagoon definitely had a very solid matchup in the lead, and I was able to maintain the alignment throughout that entire game. Okay. Solid lead. You know what's coming, right? It's a... Oh, I was I was totally wrong. I thought there was going to be a Shadow Razor Leafer on the swap in there, but it's actually a Toxicroak, which I have such a hard punish to with Hypno. Both Thunder Punch and Fire Punch hit for neutral damage. What you see me doing here is building up enough energy to bluff a Focus Blast. Trying to get a shield there, but it did not happen. I'm already in my mind assuming that there is some sort of a Shadow Razor Leafer in the back. This is where Venusaur is very nice against that. I'm going to bring in the Obstagoon here. Going to no shield this. They went for Flamethrower, even though Stone Edge is the more energy efficient move. Obstagoon is not a fighting type. Maybe they're single moved here, but they actually have an Azumarill in the back, so this is pretty scary. I'm going to throw the Skunk Shot right away and just see what my opponent wants to do. They shielded up, so I immediately switch into Venusaur. And I know my Venusaur can still comfortably tank an Ice Beam from this range, which is good for me, but that Azu does have an energy advantage. Luckily, they are pretty much in Frenzy Plant range at this point, so I'm going to have to tank this Ice Beam and then get to this Frenzy Plant. If the Bastiodon farms me down, that's not great, so that's why I'm over farming here just a little bit to potentially get to another Frenzy Plant against the Bastiodon, but I don't think it's going to be able to happen. Bastiodon comes out, and I get farmed down. Not great, but I'm able to get one counter through and take out the Bastiodon. Good game there. Obstagoon into Marowak, this is pretty good for me. Obviously, the counters are double resisted because of Alolan Marowak's typing, but Alolan Marowak can pretty much only go for Bone Clubs unless they're running Fire Blast. Again, you see an Azu safe swap. Azu safe swap is very, very common. So whenever you're building a team and your lead Pokemon is potentially weak to an Azumarill, it's nice to have a very solid hard counter to an Azumarill in your back line, to where you can really maximize the alignment here and keep good alignment. I left that Azumarill matchup with energy stored and minimal health to be farmed. That Frenzy Plant still does a nice chunk to the Marowak. Gonna bring in my Obstagoon and immediately go for the Night Slash here, see if my opponent wants to commit a shield. They let it go, so I'm really curious as to what's in the back. It's a Skarmory, and at this point, I'm just gonna chip away at this thing as much as possible with my counters and my Night Slash here. They don't even shield the first one, so I actually switch into Hypno, catch a Sky Attack here. Really, I could play this in a number of different ways, this closing scenario here, but I'm gonna throw the Thunder Punch. Most likely the Skarmory is going to shield here. They do, but you can see Resisted Confusion is still chunking this Skarmory. But at this point, I just let the Sky Attack go, and Double Shielded Obstagoon is easily going to be able to take this victory for me. I'm going to shield this, commit to the counter down, and then I have so much loaded energy that I'm easily going to be able to take out that Skarmory. I can tank this Bone Club, no problem. And I do save the shield for the potential Sky Attack from the Skarmory, but I do have back-to-back Night Slashes stored here. throw the first one, and then I'm able to throw the second one before the Skarmory is able to get a move in there. Very good game. I was catching a lot of favorable leads with OBSTAGOON, not gonna lie, when I was recording this stuff. Drifblim is not as ideal as you would think for OBSTAGOON, but I'm glad I'm seeing it in the lead because it's very tough for my backline. There's the Azumarill safe swap again. Man, so many... I totally forgot about that game. Oh man, I totally forgot about that game. Yeah, my opponent, I guess, was not thrilled to see a Venusaur in the back there, so good game. Okay, another good lead here. Oh my gosh, out comes Haunter. I totally forgot about these. I totally forgot about these two games. I remember when I was doing these battles on stream, and those battles literally occurred back to back, and I absolutely lost it, man. I was like, what the heck is going on here? Maybe they misclicked or something. I'm not quite sure. But here's a Gengar. There's an Azu safe swap, and there's the Venusaur hard punish again. Now, obviously, against Gengar, OBSTAGOON's counters are triple resisted because of that ghost and poison typing. Because I'm fast on my swap again, you see I'm able to throw the Frenzy Plant. They're not even running Ice Beam. So this is looking good for me. I'm assuming the Gengar is going to come back in. And the Frenzy Plant is still going to chunk it. They actually bring out Stunfisk, which is honestly not that good of a response to Venusaur. These Frenzy Plants are hitting for neutral. I get a shield there. I'm in an unbelievably favorable position here. I'm able to land that Frenzy Plant. This is looking very favorable for me. I can just let this go. Venusaur has more than served its purpose. It's taken out 1.5 Pokemon there. Gonna bring an OBSTAGOON. And honestly, I just need to save some shields for my Hypno to be able to confusion down this Gengar, as you see here. This is just a Shadow Punch, so I actually no shield it. Really trying to go for a 2 shield flex here. Gonna get to this Fire Punch. I only shield if I have to, that's my motto, and I don't have to shield in this matchup. Good game. OBSTAGOON into Galvantula. Alright, this is a tough lead for the line, obviously. I'm going to throw the Night Slash right there. There is a case to be made that I should throw on 6, but I would lose the CMP tie, and I'm actually able to get in an extra counter there anyways, which is pretty nice. They do go for the lunge, so I'm going to switch in my Hypno at that point. I really can't afford to be out of shields in the lead scenario against this Galvantula. So I'm able to switch in my Hypno and confusion it down. Galvantula is gone. Out comes the Azumarill. So I have been debuffed in attack, which is not great. But these Thunder Punches are still going to do some nice chip damage here. I'm very curious as to what is in the back. I saw Galvantula. I saw Azumarill. We'll have to see. Most likely another answer to a Stunfisk, maybe their own Galarian Stunfisk, because otherwise, if Azumarill is their only answer to a Galarian Stunfisk, they're pretty weak to it. Oh man, this was a terrible play right here. I was really hoping that this Night Slash would be enough plus the counter damage. The thing is that I knew that they were going to have so much energy coming out of that matchup there, and I did not want my Venusaur to have to tank and tank 2 Ice Beams from the Azumarill. But that was a questionable play. I should have let my Hypno go down, brought in my Venusaur, and then sack swapped on my OBSTAGOON possibly. But they had a Bastiodon in the back, which their team is extremely weak to Galarian Stunfisk, so they're very fortunate that I was not running it on this team, and I was barely too slow to the sack swap on my Hypno, and so I lose that game, unfortunately. Good game there. OBSTAGOON into Azu. This is not great. I'm going to use my Hypno safe swap. They're staying in, so I'm over farming here. I will commit a shield here. It's only an Ice Beam. That's unfortunate for me. Out comes Registeel. So I can potentially win back switch advantage here, or I can go for a really nice farm down against this Reggie with my OBSTAGOON and get to the Sludge, the Gunk Shot. So I can see, we'll see how I end up playing this. I still tank. I survive a Flash Cannon from that range, but I would like to get shields down here. Gonna throw this Fire Punch. Hopefully they let this go. And then I actually aggressively switch into my OBSTAGOON here. I know the Azumarill is going to come back in. There's a case to be made that I should have stayed in with Hypno because I knew that I would have survived that Flash Cannon and I would have been able to Confusion down. I'm able to land the Gunk Shot, and that is so huge. In the back is a Shadow Victory Bell. So these Night Slashers are going to chip away, and then my Venusaur should be able to tank whatever move this thing throws at me. But I'm actually, yeah, I switch into the Venusaur to force them to throw energy, and then my Hypno is still so healthy that I can just Confusion this thing down. They go for Acid Spray. And so I'm just going to go for the Sludge Bomb, and this will be able to take out that Victory Bell right there. Good game. Again, let me know in the comment section if you appreciate these longer videos like this. Kind of fun to make. You're able to see lots of battles utilizing this one team and kind of see how I handle different leads and different team comps, and hopefully you can learn from that. They're staying in with the Alolan Marowak here. So I'm just going to throw Night Slash immediately. This is a pretty decent lead for OBSTAGOON. I get a shield very early on, which is very interesting. So I'm wondering if their entire team is weak to OBSTAGOON. They double shield. They double shield. I still survive this Bone Club here. I do. Okay, and then they switch into a Azumarill, and I'm able to hard punish it with Venusaur. So I'm up 2 shields. This is looking like a pretty favorable scenario for me. I guess if there was like an Umbreon in the back, that would kind of be sketchy. I am going to shield this, and I'm going to kind of gamble that whatever they have in the back, Venusaur might also have some play against. Because if that Marowak comes in, I can just go for the Frenzy Plant immediately right here. It's not enough to KO, obviously. But they go for the Bone Club bait, and I call it, which is good for me. I'm able to get to this Frenzy Plant, and I think this is actually just enough to take out this Alolan Marowak. What is in the back? It is an Umbreon. Oh my gosh, this is what I was worried about. And I panic through the Night Slash. But look what ends up happening. I get the boost, and then I have to shield this. It is an Umbreon in the back, which is what I was very worried about. I'm not going to be able to get to this Gunk Shot because the Umbreon is essentially at a move right there. And I'm able to win the CMP tie because the first one was false CMP. And the boost with these 2 Night Slashes, and then I get double boosted. That was absolutely wild. But I was able to win that. Thank goodness for the boost. This is another favorable lead for me. Lapras lead is pretty interesting. I don't encounter those too frequently. It's also a Water Gun Lapras, so I know that my Venusaur can easily handle that as well. They make a really nice swap into their Azumarill. But since that Night Slash connected, I can go straight Frenzy Plant, and I think this is barely enough to KO, or they survive. Oh, they shield, so we don't even know. But that Night Slash damage would have put it in almost one-shot range from the Frenzy. So I'm going to shield this, farm up as much as possible. I'm keeping track of the Azumarill's energy. It takes 5 bubbles to get to Ice Beam. I don't want to get hit by an Ice Beam, obviously. And I was able to safely mirror my opponent's shields. Oh my gosh, it's an Alolan Marowak in the back. But these Frenzy Plants, they're only single resisted, and they still do nice big chunks of damage here. If the Alolan Marowak, yeah, it can't fully commit to the farm down. If this is Bone Club, I still survive. I do. And I'm barely not able to get to that Frenzy Plant. Unfortunate, but I have a pretty solid response here. And because my Hypno is running Thunder Punch, it's going to be favorable against the Lapras as well. I was worried about a possible Fire Blast from this Marowak, but they're just going straight Bone Club. So Fire Blast is honestly a pretty rare moveset to encounter, but man, you're going to remember the time where you no-shield a Fire Blast and you get one-shotted, and you're going to learn from that pretty fast. I get boosted right there again. Man, these boosts are so unnecessary. Like, I seem to always get the boost when I'm already in a winning position, which is just absolutely hilarious. So at this point, I'm just going to shield this and not even use my Hypno in this entire game. OBSTAGOON and Venusaur absolutely carried that entire team. Good game. OBSTAGOON into Azu, not great. Going to insta-swap into the Hypno. And they come out with Skarmory, which is amazing for me because my Venusaur gets to avoid this, and I can win back switch here. But it's It's very tricky to time the throwing of these moves when you're using a 4-turn move like Confusion and your opponent is using a 3-turn move like Air Slash. I feel like my opponent is constantly getting in free moves there because of the awkward timing of 4 against 3. So at this point, I'm going to shield this, but I don't know if I can win back switch here. Thunder Punch goes through. I really need to be able to Confusion this down, and I'm barely able to do that. I'm able to win back switch, which is amazing. Out comes Whiscash. Oh man, this sucks. This really sucks. Oh yeah, that was a terrible play on my part. Absolutely terrible play. I should have just let Hypno go down, and then I could safely bring in my obstacle. I don't know what I was thinking. This is big mistake, folks. Huge mistake, folks, because now this Whiscash has all of this loaded energy, and so it's easily going to be able to Blizzard my my Venusaur. I stop attacking there to try to get a jump start on energy with my Venusaur, but that was a prime example of just absolutely throwing a match where I could have won even though I got hard countered in the lead. I should have let Hypno go down, safely bring in OBSTAGOON against the Whiscash, absorb all the damage, and Venusaur sweeps the whole back line. Oh, so painful to watch. But you learn from the mistakes, and apparently at this phase in my battles during the set, I was really into the aggressive switching mindset, and it definitely cost me some games. As we lead again, oh man, I'm hard punished with a Sableye in the back. This is very tough. It's going to be very tough to come back from this. Hopefully whatever they have in the back, Venusaur might have some play against, but it's not looking great. They are over farming, so at least I'm going to get a shield advantage coming out of this, and I know that they're a Shadow Sableye, so they don't have access to return. So OBSTAGOON is going to get a nice farm, and I'm not really threatened by the charge moves. But you're going to see how much damage these foul plays do from a Shadow Sableye. It's pretty impressive. So these foul plays are really adding up, doing almost a third of my health. Shadow Claw is triple resisted. I knew that I would probably barely survive that foul play, but I want to preserve a little bit of health. I don't know if that was the right play. I really want to get to the gunk shot against this Azumarill. I'm able to get to the gunk shot. Hopefully they let it go through. They do, which is great for me. I'm able to instantly switch into my Venusaur. What is in the back, I do not know. But I'm hoping that Venusaur has play, and it is an Alola Marowak. Very bad for me again. Yeah, this is tough. I need to land both of these Frenzy Plants, which is good for me, but I'm pretty sure my opponent can fully commit to the farm down here, and my OBSTAGOON is totally out of energy, unfortunately. They go for a very smart play and go for the Bone Club to give themselves more farm there, which was a really nice play on their part. Bone Club is just barely not enough to take me out, but I can't counter them down, and they still had a shield. Really nice play by my opponent. Their backline counter mine pretty well. So this is a decent lead for me, but I have to shield first. I am scared of the superpower. So I know that the Melmetal stored some energy. It's not quite out of move, and Hypno is a very solid response to this Medicham. They go straight for Dynamic Punch, so I wonder if they're running Power Up Punch, Dynamic Punch. So I'm actually worried about this Dynamic Punch KOing me here, and I do really want to maintain switch advantage. So they're actually running Ice Punch, Dynamic Punch. So I commit an early shield, but this energy is going to be put to good use on whatever comes in because of the wide coverage that Fire Punch and Thunder Punch has. Out comes the Melmetal. This is going to hit for super effective damage. I do get a shield. Melmetal cannot farm me down before I get to another move. This is great for me. I know that they still don't have a move stored, so I can bring in my OBSTAGOON. I'm going to throw this Night Slash here and see what they want to do. This Night Slash is not going to KO, but it's going to do some nice chip damage. They are still staying in. This is for sure a superpower. I'm going to shield this. And they're staying in. It's an Azu in the back. So because I'm so slow to decide what I want to do here, I actually throw this Gunk Shot. It gets shielded. Now I'm going to insta-swap to Venusaur. Again, I can easily tank an Ice Beam. And this Frenzy Plant is not going to one-shot at this health range, but it should put it low enough that my Obstagoon can counter it down and then have some residual energy against the Melmetal. They're actually not even able to get there. Melmetal cannot Thundershock me down, and so this Frenzy Plant is going to be enough to take out that Melmetal there. Good game. Venusaur in the back is so strong. When you're able to get it aligned up against an Azumarill like that, it puts you in such a favorable position, whereas otherwise an Azu safe swap can be trouble to deal with. My opponent safe swaps a Skarmory here, which I don't have a direct response to. Technically, Obstagoon is my best option here, but what I need to do is get this Skarmory to shield and also be in a health range where like I can confusion it down. So at this point I'm going to shield, and then I think I swapped the Hypno here, yeah, and I'm going to go for the full farm. Even if I get, I knew this wasn't a Brave Bird, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable here. And again, this loaded energy on Hypno is really going to be put to good use regardless of what comes in. Able to fully confusion it down. I almost have 2 punches stored. Out comes the Marowak. These Thunder Punches are going to hit for neutral, and I have enough energy stored up that I'm able to bluff a Shadow Ball, get a shield. Looking good for me. I have the alignment that I need. Venusaur avoided the Skarmory. Venusaur is also able to avoid this Alola Marowak right here. I'm worried about the Fire Blast. They have a lot of energy stored, so I think I actually do shield this, because if my Venusaur has to see this Alola Marowak, it's over for me. So nice heads up play. They have a Meganium in the back, so I'm going to farm up as much as energy possible here. Earthquake does not one-shot, so I think I build up the back-to-back Sludge Bombs, and then I throw. 1 Vine Whip short of back-to-back, but the Sludge Bomb should be just enough to KO. Very good for me. I have a Frenzy Plant stored against this Alola Marowak. Still going to do some nice chip damage. I know that I get farmed by the Alola Marowak, but that's fine. Obstagoon can survive whatever this thing throws at me, unless it is a Fire Blast, but because I stored the Night Slash, I'm able to win CMP here and guarantee that I'm not going to get hit by that thing. Thank goodness. Good game there. Obstagoon into Altaria. Okay, I actually kind of have to stay in here. This is essentially my Altaria counter. I believe in the 2 shield, it's actually not that bad, but my opponent switches into Azumarill. Like, amazing catch by them. So I'm able to hard punish with Venusaur. And let's see if this Frenzy Plant is enough to one-shot. I really hope it is. It barely is not, but they're not able to get to a move. Thank goodness. They have Lapras in the back. This is a Frost Breath Lapras. So this is going to be kind of a complicated win scenario here. They do shield that, which is good. I know that my confusion damage is going to be really nice against that Altaria. I'm actually going to shield this up. I need to burn shields or get rid of this Lapras. Lapras just has way too much health right now. So because they shielded, I'm going to aggressively switch into my Obstagoon here. Going to go for this Night Slash. It's not enough to KO. I got to get rid of this Lapras though. And at this point, I think I'm fully committed to saving my final shield for Hypno, because I really need that Shadow Confusion damage to really come through clutch here. I'm able to get this Night Slash off, which is nice chip damage. At this point, the Altaria is in a comfortable range where I can Confusion plus like a Thunder Punch, and it should be in the ideal health range here. I can survive 1 Sky Attack with Hypno, even though it is a Shadow Hypno. Still got a good amount of bulk there. And they had 2 Sky Attacks anyway, so this is pretty good for me. Able to get to this Thunder Punch. The Lapras is pretty dang low, and so these Confusions should be pretty solid there. And they're not able to get to a Surf. Good game. Frost Breath does more damage, but does not generate energy near as fast as Ice Shard does. Oh man, this lead, this game right here was very tough. So I'm going to use Hypno as a safe swap, and they come in with Azumarill, which is not really a counter to a Shadow Hypno, especially with an energy advantage. But I'm very sad that my Venusaur doesn't get to see this Azumarill. I'm going to shield up this Play Rough. Again, trying to time the throwing of these charge moves against a 3-turn move like Bubble is kind of challenging here. So at this point, I should have shielded this right there. It was only an Ice Beam, but they also got an extra Bubble Through. And it's actually pretty important that I regain Switch. Yeah, this is bad for me. I easily could have regained Swap there, and having Venusaur aligned with Vigoroth would have been much more favorable. Ah, this Azumarill is still able to get to a move. This is just very, very bad for me. Luckily, it's only an Ice Beam. Vigoroth's going to come back in, and this Body Slam is really going to hurt. And if I remember correctly, I'm very sad when I see what they have in the back. It is Alola Marowak. All these Alola Marowaks in the back are brutal for Venusaur. 2 Frenzy Plants is not enough to take this thing out, unfortunately. It's very close, but it's not enough. I need like a little bit more damage on the Alola Marowak. They went for Shadow Bone immediately, but this Frenzy Plant is not going to be enough. I'm so close to another Frenzy Plant, but as you can see, I'm just not going to be able to get there. So this takes me out, and then I need to try to counter down this Marowak, but the Fire Spin is too much. Good game. That Vigoroth lead was tough for sure. Obstagoon into Snorlax. Okay, this is a good lead for me. You do need to look out for the Superpower. Superpower does not one-shot a full health Obstagoon, but it gets very, very close. I'm going to throw this Night Slash. They let it go. I want to preserve a bunch of health on this, so I will commit an early shield. Let's see what they want to do. They are just fully letting their Snorlax go down. So totally fine by me. If Azumarill comes in, I'm going to save swap, because this is a very healthy Obstagoon. No sense in letting it go down. It's an Altaria. That is a little bit scary. I have to stay in here and do as much chip damage as possible once again. They're bringing in an Altaria against my Obstagoon, so I am very curious as to what they have in the back. It might be something weak to Obstagoon. They're also not shielding anything, which this is pretty crazy here. They're still not shielding. So at this point, I think I just let the Obstagoon go. I think I switch into Hypno right now to try to Confusion this down before it gets to a Sky Attack. That's great for me. They had an Azumarill in the back the whole time, yet they didn't bring it out against my Obstagoon. Kind of strange there, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure why they did that, but it puts me in a pretty favorable position. At this point, I can no shield this. I mean, my Venusaur in the back is going to be able to clean house. If they did bring in the Azumarill against my Obstagoon, I would have safe swapped Hypno anyways, and they potentially either, if they would have stayed in with Azumarill, then I would have been in a world of hurt because my Venusaur would have been aligned with the Altaria, but they most likely would have switched to an Altaria. I don't know, but either way, I was able to take this game because of the gameplay decision that they made. Good game. I think this is the final battle in this video here. Bad lead, gonna safe swap. You know the drill. They come out with a Ferrothorn. This is where Fire Punch is so clutch. Unfortunately, my opponent somehow guessed that I had Fire Punch, and they shielded. It would have been so nice to land that, but I'm going to let this first Power Whip go through because I know I can tank it, and honestly, these Bullet Seeds aren't that threatening. So let's see if they want to go down 2 shields. They do. So at this point, all I need to do is commit 1 shield and land this Fire Punch, which I should be able to do right there. Good for me. This definitely should be enough to take out the Ferrothorn. Out comes the Azumarill again, and I'm getting as much chip damage as possible. Yeah, okay, I bring in Venusaur. I can tank an Ice Beam. I feel like I throw this game, though. They're able to get to another Ice Beam. I have to shield this. I'm assuming they're out of energy, so they probably try to swap here. They're staying in, so I'm just going to throw the Frenzy Plant and see what's in the back. In the back is a Toxicroak. This is absolutely terrible for me. I'm going to get farmed down. I have to throw this Frenzy Plant and then immediately switch into my Obstagoon and try to get a move off. But I'm not able to. I think this is a Sludge Bomb and it's able to take me out. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content, especially these longer videos, because they do take longer to make. But I will see you all in the next video.